Okay, so I finished my arms. Thankfully, I actually had enough brown yarn to finish them. I'm just unraveling them. And these are my arms. Now, I haven't stuffed them yet. I made the mistake of doing them too quickly and not stuffing them. But as long as you have I'm using this marker, or a lot of stuffing will have like a little wooden stick in it. I can stuff them. It's just a lot harder. But anyway, don't be like me. But I made my arms, and I still have my stuff. I'm just pushing my stuff out of camera frame. But now I'm going to start with the ears. Now I don't have enough to make. I don't have enough brown to make um, with my ears. But I'm going to. You're still using brown for this part. So for your ears, you're going to again take your 3.5 millimeter hook, and you're going to do a magic circle. No, I am so sorry. No, you're not going to do magic circle. You're going to take your yarn and your 3.5 millimeter hook. Why is it not focusing? Thank you. And you are going to chain 26. So we're going to do 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me count these really quickly just to make sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Yeah, I know I missed two of them. 26. Okay, now we have our chain of 26. If it would focus for me, please. All right, now what you're going to do is you're just going to single crochet down that chain. So just single crochet down the chain, and you're going to put one single crochet in every stitch across. Yeah, so that's the starting row. Just single crochet all the way to the end. All right, now I've done and single crocheted across my entire chain. And now for rows 1 through 6, you are going to chain 1 at the very end. So I chain my 1, and you're going to turn your work, and you're going to single crochet across. And you're going to do this for row 1 through 6. And when you get to the end, chain 1, turn, and single crochet back down for rows 1 through 6. Okay, focus please, focus please. Is it the angle that this is in? All right, so rows 1 through 6 I have completed. And now we're going to start row 7. And row 7 is very, listen very closely. I'm going to put this in the description, but when I write this in the description, it's going to be one after the other, because it's hard to follow along when it's in a paragraph. It's hard for me to follow along, and I wrote it. So, okay, for row 7, what we're going to do is, I've already chained my 1, but you're going to chain 2 more. So chain 3. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do a half double crochet in the next 19 stitches. So half double crochet, you're going to go into that next stitch, you're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, and you're going to half double crochet. So yarn over. Oh, this focus is really making me mad. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up through all loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, have 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3. Now, I have not been counting, but I will. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. Miney's mad because she's in timeout. 9. What did I say? Was that 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11. If it would focus, please. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Trying to get it to focus. 19. So after you do your 19, you're going to do a half double crochet. So we're at the end. This is we're starting the ear now. Well, this is the ear, but we're starting to do the little loop at the bottom to make it puffy. Now you've done your 19 half double crochet. So now what you're going to do is you're going to do a half double crochet increase. So you're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and you're going to do another half double crochet in that same stitch, and you're going to do an increase. Now, after your half double crochet increase, you are going to do, let me mark this so I don't tell you wrong too. So we just did a half double crochet increase. Now we're going to do a half double crochet. Now, after, was that a half double crochet? I feel like I did not do that right. Half double crochet increase. Oh, I just did it too fast. Now we do a half double crochet. Mark that off. Now you're going to do another half double crochet increase. That's your increase. Mark that off. Now you're going to do another half double crochet. Another half double crochet. Mark that off. And you're going to do another half double crochet increase. Now you're going to do, mark that off, half double crochet increase. Going to do a half double crochet on the edge. And you're going to do an increase in that next stitch. Now we're going across, and these don't really necessarily have a stitch because we're going in an area that is the end. So, but I just did an increase. Just find a stitch, and you're going to do a half double crochet again, and you're going to continue this until you reach the other side of, thank you, sir. You're going to continue this until the other side is congruent to this side. I'll show you on camera just to make it easier, but once you get to this side, because we're working around, once you get to this side, you want to make sure that this matches up or tries to match up with what you did over here. So I'm on a half double crochet. Now you're going to go into the next stitch and do a half double crochet increase, and you're going to do a half double crochet in that next stitch, and you're going to do a half double crochet if it will focus. Thank you, sir or ma'am. And do a half double crochet increase. Hold on. And then you're going to do a half double crochet on that corner. either I'm doing this too quickly or I'm just not paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay. And then we're going to do an increase. We've gotten to the end now. Going to go into that next stitch and we're going to do a half double crochet increase. Then half double crochet in the next stitch. Half double crochet increase in that next stitch. Pull this out. Half double crochet, what are we on now? Half double crochet increase. Maybe if I try to do it very still, it won't unfocus. Nope, I don't know what's going on, but anyway. We did a half double crochet in that stitch. Now we're going to do a half double crochet. Did I do that? Half double crochet increase in the next stitch. Now after I do this increase, I'm going to look on my other side and see if it is congruent. No, let me see actually. So I'm counting my stitches, the increase is there. So I need to do one more. So I'm going to do another increase in that next stitch. And I think that is lined up. So that's what I mean by congruent. You basically want, when you wrap it around, make sure it lines up or tries to line up to where you did the first, let me not mark this. You did the first one. So this is where my increase was. This is where my last increase is for this row. So they're right across from one another. Try to do it as best as you can. Now, after that, after you've done all of that, I ended on an increase. So now you're just going to continue to half double crochet until the end. You're not going to half double crochet across here. You're just going to half double crochet. You're going to half double crochet until you get to the end of this. Okay, today's a new day. If you hear any noise in the background, it's my kitty, Miney. So I just wanted to get into what we've made so far. We've made the body, we've made the legs, we've made the arms and head now, and the ears. Now we just have to move on to the, Lord help me, the tail and the mushroom hat and the little mushrooms around it. Now also, before I continue with that too, I used, these little eyeball thingies. I'm not sure what it's called, but they're these little mini eyeball things that you can get, and there are a bunch of them that I use. But when we're making the little black parts for the mushroom, those can also pair as eyes too if you want them to be. So I will be using these, but I'm also going to show you how to make eyes and a nose if you don't want or don't have these. Okay, so moving on. Now also, I just made my ears in blue this time. I know in the tutorial in the last video I did, or the last clip for now, the last clip I did it with tan yarn, but I didn't want to wait for brown yarn to come, and since it's December, it's around Christmas is coming, I was going to get brown yarn at the very end of December, and I wasn't going to wait that long. So I just did them with blue. Hopefully it turns out good. I mean, it's just something that I'm making. Okay, all we have to do now is the mushroom head and the little mushroom parts and the tail. Let me forget the tail. Okay, so for the mushroom hat, you're going to again take your 3.5 millimeter hook. If I can find mine, hold on. All right, now with mushroom head, we're going to take our 3.5 millimeter hook, and we're going to do a magic circle as we have been doing. I'm going to take the blue yarn now. Again, all of these colors are up to you. This is what I just used. So we're going to do a magic circle, and then we're going to put 6 single crochet. Okay, today's a new day. If you hear any noise in the background, it's my kitty, Miney. So I just wanted to get into what we've made so far. We've made the body, we've made the legs, we've made the arms and head now, and the ears. Now we just have to move on to the, Lord help me, the tail and the mushroom hat and the little mushrooms around it. Now, also, before I continue with that too, I used these little eyeball thingies. I'm not sure what it's called, but they're these little mini eyeball things that you can get, and there are a bunch of them that I use. But when we're making the little black parts for the mushroom, that those can also pair as eyes too if you want them to be. So I will be using these, but I'm also going to show you how to make eyes eyes and a nose if you don't want or don't have these. Okay, so moving on. Now, also, I just made my ears in blue this time. I know in the tutorial and the last video I did, or the last clip for now, the last clip, I did it with tan yarn, but I didn't want to wait for brown yarn to come. And since it's December, it's around Christmas is coming, I was going to get brown yarn at the very end of December, and I wasn't going to wait that long. So I just did them with blue. Hopefully it turns out good. I mean, it's just something that I'm making. Um, but okay, all we have to do now is the mushroom head and the little mushroom parts and the tail. Let me forget the tail. Okay, so for the mushroom hat, you're going to again take your 3.5mm hook. If I can find mine, hold on. All right, now with mushroom head, we're going to take our 3.5mm hook, and we're going to do a magic circle as we have been doing. I'm going to take the blue yarn now. Again, all of these colors are up to you. This is what I just used. So we're going to do a magic circle, and then we're going to put 6 single crochet into that magic circle. Okay, so we're going to pull that, and we're going to go into that first stitch that you did, and we're going to do a single crochet. All right, now I have to go get my stitch marker because I don't know where I put my one. And I'm going to use, I also got these on Temu for like, I don't know how much, but it's a bunch of them. Ooh. All right, I'm going to use a different stitch marker so you can see it. I don't want to use another blue one with blue yarn. And for rows 1 through 5, again, like I've been saying, you are going to do the corresponding row should correspond with the amount of single crochets that you should be doing in the row. So this is row 1. Starting with row 1, I'm going to go into that first stitch and I'm going to do an increase. Every row starts with an increase. Now, this is something I also said too, if you happen to get to your stitch marker and say you're on row 4 and this stitch is row 4, how do I word that? If you're doing row 4 and say this is the third single crochet, this happens to be in the 4th one, continue to keep going. If the increase goes before or after, it really doesn't matter, to be perfectly honest, is what I'm saying. Just make sure that when you get back to this stitch with the stitch marker, to continue to go around. It really only matters when you have the when you're decreasing. Okay, anyway, so I did my increase, and then I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then I'm going to do an increase in this next stitch, and then in the next stitch I'm going to do a single crochet, and I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around for row 1. Now again, like I said, once you're going to be doing this pattern continuously, corresponding to the rows. So in row 5, you should be doing 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches and repeat. And that's the same for all of them. Row 3, increase, 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So I'll be back to do those rows and continue the rest of the tutorial. Okay, now I've made it back to my stitch marker. Now I've made it to, let me count. So I have my increase, that's 1, 2, 3. Now I didn't finish the row because I got back to my stitch marker, because this is when we're going to start paying attention to this stitch marker. So I have increase 1, increase 1, 2, 3. Right, so I got back to my stitch marker. And once you make it back to your stitch marker for row 5, it doesn't matter what you're on, end it at the stitch marker. This is when we're going to start using our stitch marker. So for row 6, let me write this down. If I can find my book. Okay, so for my people who are reading the written pattern, I hope that I'm going to try to find a way to better explain this written too. So for we're going into row 6. Now you're going to go into that next stitch and you're going to do an increase. And then you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now on the sixth stitch, we're going to do an increase, and in the next stitch, we're going to do another increase. Now we're going to continue that pattern. So we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. And in that 6th stitch, we're going to do an increase. Increase, another increase. And then we're going to do 1. Come on. Going to do 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, focus, 5, and then we're going to do an increase in that stitch, the next stitch, or the 6th stitch, the 6th count, then an increase in that next stitch. And we're just going to do 1 more, and then 1 more single crochet to end off that round for row 6. And it doesn't really matter because this next row for row 7, this next row for row 7, you're going to single crochet in every stitch around. Write that down. And I'm sort of freeballing this, honestly, because I lost the pattern to the first one that I made. So for row 7, you're just going to single crochet in every stitch around for row 7. All right, now for row 8, I hope this is flipped properly. Hold on. Okay, Now, for row 8, you're going to do something, you're going to do the pattern similar to row 6. So what you're going to do, and I'll show it on camera, is you're going to go into that next stitch, and you're going to do an increase, and you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 8 stitches. So hold on, wait, let me see. That's an increase. Hold on, let me see. I can't see with the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm on my 4th one. This is 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, in that next stitch, in that 9th stitch, we are going to do an increase. If it would let me, we are going to do an increase. Can you skip? Okay, maybe we just won't do it. Okay, I want to do an increase in that next stitch. Then I'm going to do an increase in that next stitch. Again, do another increase in that next stitch. Now, you're going to continue to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch. You're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 8 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And make sure I have all those. I can't see through the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Now, in that next stitch, we're going to do an increase. Or to say it in faster terms, in the next 2 stitches, you're going to do an increase. How about that? So you have your first increase and your second increase. Now you're going to go back again and do 1 single crochet in the next 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, because we're still going to do an increase again. So we're going to do an increase in that next stitch, and then increase in, I believe, if I can see properly. No, I don't think that's the same stitch as the stitch marker. Nope. Yeah. So now we did our 2 increases in the next 2 stitches, and we got to our stitch marker, which I believe is just, yeah, got our stitch marker. So that is row 8. Now for row 9, you are going to single crochet in every stitch around for row 9. Okay, so we've made it to row 9. Gotta smush yours out a bit. Now I'm going to get my head, and I'm going to see, let me take some of the stuffing out. I'm going to turn it this way because you can't really see it any other way. I'm going to sit it over top of my head. Now, the head is supposed, the mushroom head is supposed to sit sort of slouched on top of the head. So there's a little bit more that we still got to do. This is also up to you. You can do it however small or however big. I'm going to do a couple more rows to make mine a little bit more slouchier than it is right now. So, that being said, we're going to go into row 10. And we are going similar. What you doing, girl? Similar, similar to rows 8 and 6. Get down. Similar to rows 8, 6, and 8, we are going to go into that next stitch and do an increase. And then we are going to go into the next stitch and we're going to do a single crochet, and we're going to single crochet in the next 10 stitches. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you're going to go into that 11th stitch, I believe. Did I do that? Is that right? Let me see. Is that right? I don't feel like I'm doing that right. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, so we're going to go into that 11th stitch. Money, stop. Let me make sure I counted this properly. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. We're going to go into that next stitch and we're going to do an increase. So we're going to do an increase, and then like we have been doing, we're going to do another increase into that next stitch. Now, after that, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 10 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now again, in that 11th stitch, make sure you start pushing it out some. In that 11th stitch, we are going to do an increase. We're going to do another increase in that next stitch. Increase. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet. So we have that increase and the second increase in the next stitch. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 10 stitches again. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and in that 11th stitch, we're going to do an increase. If I can do it. Sorry, it's really hard to do this looking through the camera. I'm trying to make sure you can see it, but also I can see it. And then an increase in that next stitch again. And then in that stitch marker area, we have the stitch marker. We're just going to do a single crochet and move that stitch marker. So now starting to form. Now for row 11, you are going to single crochet in every stitch around for row 11. All right, now I'm done with my row 11. So this is my head. I'm going to put this over this. Now this is to my liking. It's supposed to be sort of slouched over the head, like a little hat. So it's supposed to be a little slouched. If you want it bigger, you just continue to do your rows in that sequence. So I stopped on row 11. But if you want to make it bigger for because we single crocheted in row 11, for row 12, you would just do 1 single crochet in the next 12, and then you would do 2 increases in the next 2 stitches and so on. And then the row after that would be a single crochet and every stitch around for the next row. Just make sure that you end on a single crochet row, meaning that you're only doing single crochets in the last row that you're doing. And again, it's sort of like what we've been doing this entire thing of the corresponding rows. If you're on row 12, you know that you're supposed to have 12 single crochet in that pattern and so on. But I'm going to yarn off. This is my mushroom hat, and I'm going to yarn this off. I'm going to yarn this off, and then I'm just going to go into that next stitch and slip stitch to line it up a little bit better. And then I'm going to yarn off. Now, again, for people who don't have for the very simple and fast way is you just gluing this on top of this. It's very fast, but I think it's kind of You know, I don't really want to do that. So if you want to do that, then just glue it. But I'm going to start showing you guys, very simple, how to make the little mushroom dots for the mushroom hat. And of course, again, this can also pair as eyes if you do not have the. All right, now for the mushroom tip, for the mushroom dots for this, you're going to take your black yarn. Again, you can use any color you want. It's up to you. I use black yarn, and these are really easy. Now, what I've done is I've made bigger and slightly tinier uh, dots so that it doesn't look all uniform. So for the bigger dots, or the bigger dots, you're just going to do, going to make a magic circle, and you're going to do, also, the hook that you'll be using is this, come on, 3mm hook. And you're going to use a magic circle for the bigger dots, do a magic circle, and you're simply going to put 6 single crochet into that magic circle. So that's 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, can't see, 3, 2, and 1. Now, after you do that, all you're going to do is pull your pull your string, and then you're just going to slip stitch into that first stitch that you did, that stitch, and there you have your dot. Now, you're going to have to really eyeball this. I made a bunch just to make sure. I made 7 of each. You may need more, you may need less, depending on how big you want your depending on how big you made your hat. Now, I made 7 of the big ones, and if you want to make a tinier ones, you just make a magic circle and just put 5 single crochet instead of 6. It's not that big of a change, but you can see the difference slightly. And then once you do that, you're going to yarn off and make sure you leave an okay amount of tail for it, because so make sure you yarn off, and then I'm going to chain 1 just to secure it and yarn off. Now what you're going to do, I think, to make it easier, is if you're sewing this in, leave a long tail so you can sew them in all individually. But if you're not, I'm going to be gluing line in. So what I'm going to do, the process that I do is I take the, you're going to make, I've already made mine. So I'm going to take this one though. And what I did was I did the bigger ones. Let's do it like that. The bigger ones that I did on the circumference of it. And then I started to put the tiny ones diagonal to the circles. I'll show you what I mean by that periodically throughout when I do it. But I'm going to use this one that I already made, and I'm just going to stick it where I want it to go. And then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to take this 3mm hook, or a tinier hook. I'm going to look at where that is. See, that's where I want it to do. And I'm going to stick the hook in the back and pull. This is harder to do on camera. Pull that back through here. And I'm going to do the other one, do the same thing, go up behind this, pull out the loop, pull that out, and then it's somewhat secure. So there is your little loop. Now what I do is I pull it tight enough to where no strings are showing. No strings are showing, and then I tie it in the back like this. That's also a way that you can do it. I double tie it so that it won't come out. And I double tie it and make sure that that's secure. You can't see any strings. Now, if this is what you want to do instead of sewing them in all individually, you can do this. I glue mine on still because you still have that little tab that's not really secure, and I glue mine afterwards. But I do this just to secure them, and I glue it all afterwards. So I made 7 for each 7 for each little hole, 7 of the big ones, 7 of the tiny ones, and then I put the big ones around the circumference spaced out, but I'll show you as I go. So I'm going to start adding on my mushroom dots, and then I will be back to show you how to make the tail, and I'm pretty sure after that it's just the assembly, but I'm also going to show how to make the eyes for those who don't have the little pin thingies as well. Okay, so I've started to add on my mushroom little tippies or mushroom holes. Now this is what I mean by the circumference of the thing. I've got my bigger ones on and they're not secured. Like I said, I'll glue those down. And I start to put the tinier ones sort of in a formation around it too. So one maybe I'll put right there, one right here, and one right there, and maybe one in the middle. You know what I mean? But I'll show you at the very end. So I'm just been adding on those periodically, and I'm gonna add the rest of mine, come back and show you how to make the tail, and then I will assemble, but while I'm assembling, I'll show you how to make the eyes for those who don't have the, whatever these things are called, and the mouth too. Okay, so I've started to add on mine, and for reference, I feel like maybe you should start with the dot in the middle and try to figure out your way around it. I still have a few spaces left that I want to put a couple. Now it's really just getting in where you fit in. But of course, they're going to look a little bit obviously better once I glue them down. But I think I'm going to put one more maybe here and another maybe here or there. But I'm going to fill it up and come back. And I'm also the tinier ones I'm using in sequence in the middle, if that makes sense. So the tinier ones that we used, the tinier ones that we made, I'm putting in the smaller ring of the bigger ones that we made around the circumference. So I'll explain that. So the bigger ones that I made, which is only one more single crochet more, are around the circumference of the whatever, the hat thingy, and the smaller ones I start to put around in another sequence around the bigger ones. So these are all the smaller ones a little bit. They may not look like it. And you sort of mix and mesh the ones that you want to put on. Really doesn't matter. It's just, again, now I'm at the point where I'm sort of getting it in where it fits in. So I'm going to keep filling mine up, and then I will, because it's part of the assembly, I will probably come back and just show you how to make the tail. And then when I do the assembly, I'll just glue these in. So I think, all right, now we're going to move on to our tail. And I believe that's the last thing that we are going to make, of course, until we make the eyes for those who don't have the buttons. But I will get to that a little later, because for those of you who don't, either way, if you don't have eyes or if you do have eyes, putting them in is still the same process. So now we're going to move on to the tail. And because colors are all the same, you can use the color that you did with the body or whatever. I'm going to use blue because I didn't have I made the ears blue. I'm just going to make the tail blue to sort of balance everything out. So you're going to take whatever yarn you want. I'm using blue. If I had my brown, the tail would be brown or the color of the bunny, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to make a magic circle. And I'm going to put 6 single crochet into that magic circle. 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now you're going to pull this through. And then we're going to, Lord, what am I doing? We're going to single crochet into that first stitch that we did. We're going to get our stitch marker. And we're going to, for rows 1 through 2, you're going to do the corresponding to the single crochet. So for row 1, we're going to do an increase. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet, because that's row 1. And then you're going to do another increase. Row 1, another increase. Yeah, I just didn't do the increase. Oh, come on. All right, so we have that 1, then we did our increase, and then we have 1 single crochet in the next, in that next stitch, and then we're going to do an increase. Lord, I've been using the, oh, I just ran out of yarn. I thought I didn't have enough. Okay, since I'm using this as scrap yarn, you all know the deal when you don't have enough yarn. I'm just gonna add the rest of my yarn to this. Just gonna keep moving. So that was an increase. Now we're gonna do a single crochet. And then in that stitch marker, we're going to do an increase. If I can move it. I'm gonna do our increase. We're gonna put our stitch marker back in. And for row 2, you're gonna do the same thing, corresponding to that. I'm gonna do it on camera because it's only 2 rows. So I'm gonna do 1, please focus, 2, increase, increase, or 1, that was just increase. I said it twice, it's only 1. I'm gonna do 1, 2, and do, please focus, and do an increase in that next stitch. Why does this stitch look like that? In that next stitch, we're doing an increase. Please focus, sir. Thank you. We're going to do 1 single crochet, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, and then 1. I'm going to do 1 and 2. And we're just going to put, we're not going to do an increase, we're just going to put a single crochet into the stitch with the stitch marker. And then for rows 3 and 4, you are just going to do 1 single crochet around, 1 single crochet in every stitch around for rows 3 and 4. And once you do that, you will get something that looks like this. And we're also going to stuff this, and this is going to be the tail. Now, I'm going to begin the assembly process. So first, I'm of course going to start from the legs up, and we're going to, first I'm going to start with the legs and move my way up to the body. So get your legs. Okay, now I'm going to take my legs. Let me cut this off. I'm going to take my legs. I guess I'm taking everything else with me. Oh my word, hold on, I got it all tangled up. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I've got our legs, both of our legs here. And now you're going to take your torso that you've made. Everything wants to be tangled for some reason. Oh, hold on. Okay, finally got it untangled. Okay, you're going to take your torso and you're going to take your legs. Now I'm going to start on sewing in. Why does everything want to become tangled when I press play? Like, I'm not understanding why this is. Oh my gosh, hold on. Okay, I moved one to the completely other counter so I could actually do this. Okay, and you're going to take one of your legs and get your needle, your sewing needle. Now, the way that the legs sit, I'm going to grab my torso here. Wait, is it this way? Yeah, this way. Okay, so the way that the torso... Okay, I was able to raise my thing a little bit. But you want... Pick where you want your torso to sit. And you want your legs to be in front of the body like this. So the legs are supposed to be in front of the body like this. So I'm going to sew one on for reference. And then I'm going to sew the other one on off camera. Well, I'll sew this one on camera. So I want my, this is where I want my to be. I'm going to take it and place it where I think would look good. So I'm thinking right there, I'm going to press it into that. And I'm going to start sewing. So make sure that okay, now this is how my leg is sitting right now. Now I have a really big stitch marker that I put to sort of push the legs together, but that's the first leg. I'm going to get my left leg and I'm going to mark it where I think, see right there. But I have a stitch marker that I want the legs sort of be pushed in like that. But that's where I want my other leg. So join your other leg, and then I will be back to show you how to join the arms. Okay, so now I have on my legs. It'll sit like that. I just want the legs to be a little bit more in, but this is the legs. Now my simple self did the bottom part of this. I want it to be the top, but it's whatever, it's cool. I just sewed it to the top. So now we're gonna move on to the arms. So I'm gonna take this off. Now this is entirely up to you. Again, what you want to do with the arms. I sort of like the flat look, but I stuff mine a little bit. Let me move this out the way. I'm gonna stuff mine just a little bit to give it more of a sort of puffy look. But if you don't want to stuff it, you don't have to. I'm going to stuff mine just a little bit to give it more shape, and then you're just going to sew them on to the sides. So I'm going to sew one on just for reference for you, and then I'm going to do the other one off camera. Wait, let me stuff mine first. Hold on. Okay, now this is the side of my bear. Bunny, I'm sorry. Looks like a bear, doesn't it? It's made a similar way to how I sometimes make my teddy bears. Okay, so I'm going to add on my yarn to my needle. And then what I'm going to do, I stuffed mine a little bit, but I'm going to press it down, press the arm down and sort of push it out. And I'm going to stick it where I want it. I want the arm to be about right there. I want the arm to be pretty long. So I'm going to flatten it. I wouldn't stuff it as much at the top because you want the top arms to be flat against the body. That's why I said I'm only going to stuff mine just a little bit. So my arm is right there. I want it about there. So I'm going to go into my stitch, pull up, pull up. I'm going to go back in. Pull up, go back in, and pull up. Go back in again, and pull up underneath. Do the same thing one last time to secure it. All right, now we have the arm. Now, focus please. Now that's our arm. Now what I like to do, just to make sure that it's completely secured, please focus, is I just push it through some part of the body and pull it out. And then I'm going to do it another spot farther down just to secure it just a little bit more. Oop, your tummy coming in then. And then we snip. All done. So now we have the arm, and I'm going to attach the other arm, and then we're going to start on the head. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the body now. Now we're going to start on the head. Now, I have a little tail that I still have. Nope, stop, please. I have a little tail on my head, so I'm just going to sew that in first. But if you remember, we left a long tail on the torso so that we could just sew in the head that way. So I'm going to sew in this really quickly. And now we're going to attach the needle to our torso yarn, and we're going to start sewing on the head. Now, got this really long tail, so you're going to pick which side you want to be your head, and I like this angle here. So you're going to line it up to the head and just begin sewing. Now this is a lot harder to show simply because I don't have that much space, but you want the head taut to the body like that. I'm going to see if I can show you a little bit of it. Well, let me sew. So far this is what I have attached, and the technique that I sort of use when I sew mine in, or I go over and under. So I'm right here, so I go into this, out, back down, and into the torso, and then back out, if that makes sense. So I'm going to finish sewing my head on, and then we're going to move to the ears, the ears, and the hat, and the eyes. We're almost done. Okay, now I've got my head sewn on. This is a better angle to show it. I've got my head sewn on. Now I'm going to move on to my mushroom head. Now, for this part, again, I'm going to use my glue gun. And for those of you who don't have their glue gun, you can either use the tie method that I showed you, or if you have a glue gun on hand, use your glue gun. Now I'm going to hook up my glue gun so it can get hot, and while that's heating up, I'm going to add on my tail. So while I'm waiting for my glue gun to heat up, I'm going to add on the tail. So I take my tail, and you can stuff it if you want to. I'm going to stuff mine with just the tail that I had on it. And you're just going to pick a spot on the butt, on the back. I think right there is good enough. And then you're just going to sew. I actually might stuff it. It gives it more form if I stuff it. But I can't use that much stuffing. So I'm going to stuff it just a little bit to give it more form. Where's the spot that I wanted? Was it here? I think right there. So I'm just going to go under. I'm going to go under and pull up because it's a lighter color. You don't want it showing underneath the darker color. Make sure that's even. Okay. I'm sorry, I know I went out of frame just now. There is your little bunny tail. So, like I did before, I'm going to go in and sew into a different part. And there is our little bunny tail. All right, now moving on to I'm going to move on to the ears. Now I'm still waiting for my thing to heat up. So while I wait for that, I think I'll start on my ears again. I'll start on my ears now. Because really once the thing is heated up, I can move on to the mushroom head, and then we'll be done. So I had a lot of tails for my ears because I was using scrap yarn. So I'm going to sew in my tails for my ears. And then by the time I'm done sewing in my tails, I should have enough time. it should be enough time that passes for me to show you how to fix the mushroom hat. All right, my thing is almost heated up, so I'm going to show you how to do the ears. Now, you have two sides of the ears. I'm going to put my yarn needle through, and you have two sides of your ears. This is the front side, and what I want you to do is fold it in half. So the front side is folded in half like this, and this is what you have. So once you do that, I want you to see where you want it to fit on your, Lord, I don't have any space. See how you want it to sit on your head. Now I want mine to kind of sit like that, or what you could do, you could either sew it this way, sort of have the ears like that, or you can sew it directly onto the head and have bigger floppy ears and just sew it across like that. I'm going to do this because I like having my ears folded on her. And so I'm going to fold it like this, pick a spot where I think it'd be cute. And I'm going to sew, you can either sew this first or sew it directly into the head. So I'm going to do one on camera so you can see what I'm talking about. And let me see. I have no space. Focus, please. I'm going to go in. And this also may be easier if your head is not stuffed, too. I'm going to go in, go through all of those, and pull through. I'm going underneath the hat, and it doesn't really matter that you can see these stitches because it's going to be covered by the mushroom hat. So go through again. Okay, so that is how it will lay. Now, again, you don't have to worry about this because it's going to be covered by a mushroom hat. So I'm going to pull mine through, and there's the first ear. So I'm going to add on the next ear, and my glue gun should already be hot enough to where I can continue the rest of this project. Okay. All right, now I've added my ears. You see the little ears. Now, before I do the hat, the last thing I'm going to make before I do the hat is I'm going to talk about the eyes. Now, the eyes are similar. The eyes will have to be put on before you put on the mushroom hat. And it depends on what method you want to use. If you're going to only sew in the eyes, you would need to do it before you put on the mushroom hat so you have space to be able to sew in and out without, having anything blocking it. I would also recommend taking the stuffing out before you do that. Now, for the ones who don't have the buttons, how you made the mushroom holes, the little mushroom holes that we have, you're going to make them the same way. So it'll be a magic circle and a 6 single crochet into that magic circle, and those can also be made as eyes. Simple. You can make them a bit bigger by doing increase in a single crochet to make it a little bigger, but those can also go for eyes. And let me see, the nose, I'm not sure if you want it to be circular. Let me see how that looks, it could mark for a eye and nose if you want it to. So it's the same way you made the mushroom dots is the same way you could make these. So you make a bunch of them just in case you have a lot, if you have enough for it. These are extra ones, so you could just use those for the eyes and the nose. Now, if you want to have a little line right here, like little bunnies do, like right there, what I would do is, let me take this off. Well, I'm going to do that anyway, so I'm going to show you guys once I get my eyes on. But that's how you could make the eyes, the same way you made the dots on the mushroom hat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my eyes and my nose with my little buttons. And after I do that, I'm going to unstuff this a little bit because it's just harder to do when it's stuffed all the way. And I'm going to add my eyes, and I'm also going to add my nose. These are really a lifesaver. I don't really remember where I got these from, but you get so many for such a nice price. So I'm going to add the nose first in a place where I think is even. And before I do, I'm going to put on the bottom part of this, the back part of this, and then I'm going to add my little line and show you how to do that if you want to do that. So one moment. Okay, now I've added my nose. Now simply what I'm going to do is get a tiny little piece of black yarn. I'm going to add it to my needle like this, a little tiny piece, if I can get it on the needle, a little tiny piece. And then I'm going to, this is why it's easy to do it without the stuffing. I have to take out more stuffing. And you're going to go, make sure this is tight enough because this is not tight enough. Hold on. I gotta get these in. One moment, technical difficulty. Okay, so you're gonna go underneath the nose a little bit. Gonna go through with the needle, pull out. Oh Lord. I need a longer piece of black yarn. Hold on. For reference, like I said, do this when you do not have it stuffed. It's a whole lot easier. Go in through with your needle first, pull out, and then you're going to go directly underneath the nose and pull out. And that is what's going to form your little line. Now, to make sure that it's not too tight, I'm just going to loosely tie it up here. Because you know when you pull it too tight, it doesn't look right. So now we can move on to adding our eyes. All right, so I added one eye. Now you don't want it too far or too close to the top, because your hat, the whole point of your hat is that it slouches and you don't want it to cover your eyes on your little bunny. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with these little thingies. It's like they don't want to go in. Okay, I got one of my eyes in. I'm going to do my other one. And I can't find my little end piece. Gotta find a bigger one so I don't have to struggle so much. Like I said, all of the, either way, however you make your eyes, they have little tabs that they come with, but I think these are the tiny ones that go for the tinier eyes. So they are giving me grief. But anyway, after you do this, I'm gonna fight with this for a little bit and then I'm gonna come back. But it doesn't matter how you put on your eyes. you want to make sure you do it before you put on your mushroom hat. So there we are. So I'm going to clear my area and we're going to move on to the mushroom. All right, now I'm going to stuff back my head. And now I'm going to start gluing on my mushrooms. All right, now I've glued down all of my mushroom little tips or dots. And now you're going to lay it how you want on your head. I like mine about there. Now the tricky thing about this too is you don't want to sew it so close to the edge that it's like this. You want it to have a little bit of space in between there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it where my thing meets it. I'm going to go up and pull through a little bit through the hat so I can get closer to this edge. And I'm going to sew, ignore that black. I'm going to sew a little bit underneath. Well, no, I don't think I can do that. I'll try to pull up a loop under here if I can. Come on. Okay. Let me just do this. This will be easier. I'm going to go under. But don't pull too tight. And you want to make sure that it's close enough to the top where the sewing part can be hidden. Okay. That's how I want it. So I'm just going to keep going around the top. And you just want to do that all the way around until you get to your desired area. Now, when you get to the ears, just simply go in the ears because it's sort of attached. I mean, it's her head, so they're sort of in the same place. And you just continue that all the way around, but make sure as you're doing it to check how you want your hat to sit. Okay, now I'm going to go around. And just for reference, when I got back to the beginning, I'm sewing in pretty deep, but I'm making sure to pick up at the front. I'm sewing pretty deep in the inside of this instead of alongside the outer layers of it. Okay. This is Bummii, the final product. That's her little tail back there. I think this is incredibly adorable. You'll get a better picture of her, of course, in the thumbnail. But this is Bummii. I've made another version of her. Let me get her real quick. This is my other Bummii. So I have two Bummiis, but you'll see it in the thumbnail, of course. But I had to loop, give a little background because they wouldn't stand up properly. But thank you for visiting my channel. Happy holidays. And I will see you very soon. Bye. Say bye.